If you're new here, my name is Maxine Samone. We're having technical difficulties. I just wanted to say. Okay. If you're on YouTube, I apologize. This is going to be a relatively quick reading anyway, because my phone is on like 30%, now 29%. My phone dies relatively quick anyway. So I just wanted to get on here really quick. One, because I like my hair. Two, because there's something that's being brought up from the past. Um, we're gonna see if that's the download. That's the way that we're gonna go in this reading, anyways. But there's something that's being brought up from the past to be closed out in a different way. It feels like. Um, so we're gonna go from there. Angels, ancestors, spirit guides, higher beings of light, and unconditional love, my mother, divine father, Holy Spirit. We get some messages for the collective, the best and highest messages for the collective in their greatest, did I say the best and highest? In their highest good. Hold your center in the reverse, so there may be some chaotic energy taking place. Or you're feeling like your foundation is getting mixed up. I did see, yeah. Uh-huh. Initiation by fire. Initiation by air and by fire. And then trust in the higher plan and the power of the divine masculine. I feel like this is like coming into a space of higher level consciousness, um, like activating your divine mind, you know? Um, but this also feels like you may be activating someone as well. And you may have to get into a little bit of chaotic energy, to do that. And that doesn't mean that you're not operating from a level of like elevated consciousness. It's just what's required of you at the time. Yeah. I'm seeing like divine beauty also in the middle, like when I cut the deck. And so it's like the feminine expression showing itself in multiple ways, um, sacred rage or, sadness or disappointment, allowing yourself to feel and be in all of the emotions, allowing that to be witnessed in order to, it feels like trigger someone. What that didn't want to come out. That's what I was going to say. What wasn't said before now being said, and like even the throat blockage of like not being able to get my words out, um, like hesitation energy from like saying what needs to be said. Yeah, we have earth element stability. That's what I'm saying in the reverse. In Pisces, I believe in the reverse. That's what I'm saying. A lot of chaotic energy. Sixth house routine in the challenge position. And then Mars force clarifying power of the divine masculine. Yes. So what's coming through is that trust that um the divine masculine or whoever is being activated can handle this. This is a fire that they can walk through, that they are also inviting on a soul level. This chaotic energy, this confrontation, with confrontation with tearing down the foundations that they lived their life around, on a certain level, at a certain level, they're requesting, it feels like, you know, to be activated in this way, and I guess you're the conduit for that, whoever I'm reading for. Um, it feels like what's coming through is like fluctuations of tone. It may not even be the words that you say, it's the vibration that you emit and even the fluctuations of tone in the conversation that you may have or the words not being said, you know? We have the mystic, gnosis, and the gem. Yes, exactly. This person, it's like spirit knows when I put this in a different order. Spirit knows that you may be just the right person to activate this person and vice versa. Maybe you are also receiving an activation that is helping you to strengthen your mystic abilities. It feels like there's like a soul knowing, a gnosis that this particular pressure cooker needs to happen with whoever this is happening it with, to activate this masculine, it feels like. Yep, of the heart, medicine of the heart space. Breaking through the layers around the heart. I feel like through disappointment, honestly. Like there's a level of disappointment that may have already been played out that needs to be addressed, that needs to be spoken about, that needs to, somebody may have built a fantasy around, what they thought was going on, or how they showed up for somebody, or if they didn't show up for somebody but they feel like they did, or maybe it wasn't expressed, a disappointment wasn't expressed, and so they have built this fantasy or a false foundation around who they were for you in that time being, um and so when you're honest and you let them know maybe that's not the case or that wasn't the case, um this actually offers them an opportunity to heal and become that sustainer. That's what's coming out, the sustainer, that responsible masculine that I think that they thought that they were being, but only through breaking down the foundation first, the false foundation, the false pretense of something in the mind. They're about to go on a journey to retrieve a part of them that has an issue with responsibility that may be related to familial wounds, you know, where they avoid responsibility, where they avoid commitments, where they avoid those things. Yeah, shapeshifter. Um, and then the shadow. Interesting. And it landed over here on the healer and the offering. So, however you're feeling called, like in your genuine body, like the feeling that comes up when you're interacting with this person, you may feel like you need to show your shadow side a bit with this person. And it's like acting out of character, but Spirit is saying that that is a divine expression that is going to offer healing for this person because they're going to have to acknowledge where maybe they didn't show up for you or where they created chaos in your life, or it's like the facade that they have had in their mind is going to be like torn down. um yes, the medallion and the nectar and the starborn. That's interesting. Can I get one more to clarify? The maiden and the threshold. There's something about your maturity that um is showing up. It's like they're getting a different version of you. Whereas before I think there was just a lot of sweetness. And now I feel like they're realizing that they have to provide, they have to be willing to look deeper within themselves. It's not really about providing, it's about, I mean, to a certain degree it is, but it's like not in the traditional way. The best offering, and it's kind of coming through like a Kali energy, the best offering that you can make to like a Kali energy is the old version of yourself, like to sacrifice the old version of yourself. That's what it's showing up as. It's like this person needs to be willing to take a really good look at themselves. And so your expression in this more mature state is like requiring them to meet you at that place, and or for them to like jump into the shadow work to transmute and use, it feels like use, you're like a muse for this person. Like, um because they have experienced a certain level of sweetness. They understand what your heart feels like. They understand what it feels like to be in your good graces, and it's like they want to be in your good graces again, but not from like a fake space because your energy won't allow it to be fake. So they literally have to break through this layer, you know? And I think that they have to look at you in a more mature way too. It's forcing them to look at you in a different way, which I think is a good thing. We have the prayer, the sword, the shaman, and the bardo. Yeah, the divine has their hand in this a lot, like a lot. I feel like that's why I was saying it's like spirit knows that you may be the perfect person to activate this within this person. Otherwise, they may have just kept going on. They may not have as much respect, or again, you connected on a very vulnerable level at one point. So this may be someone like an ex or something because there's like a certain level of closeness and trust that was built in the connection that they know that you're not just saying something to say something or saying something to hurt their feelings. Is coming from a genuine place of care. Um, and I think because they look at you like a muse or they find some kind of inspiration from you, that they take what you say seriously. We're gonna get some tarot. So in 23, oh, that's not that bad. What does spirit want us to know about this, if anything? Ten of Swords in the reverse. I'm hearing a couple of things with that. Nine of Cups, yeah. Um, if you were the person that endured feeling betrayed and now the conversation is coming back around for you to express that and to it's serving for as an activation as well. And it's serving as you as a part of your maturation process, but it's also serving in a way of like you don't have to take on the story of betrayal. You don't have to take ownership, too much ownership over the situation that played out in the past. Maybe you took too much responsibility. And so you're allowing this person to hold their part. There is a light at the end of the tunnel, it feels like, and with the Nine of Cups on the bottom of the deck, it's telling me that this played out exactly as it was meant to, that you don't have to hold on to the story of betrayal and let this serve as an activation for both of you because that's how it transmutes into the light at the end of the tunnel, you know? Now we have the Six of Pentacles. So, yes, it's serving in both ways. And I think that because you may have been uncomfortable with your shadow at one point, you may have kept yourself small. You wouldn't have said those things. You wouldn't have said what needed to be said to serve as an activation, but also to allow you to come into your power. So, the situation, while it did feel like a betrayal, you realize that creating again like maturation process this person is having sorry my nails look so crazy having to meet you at a different version of yourself because you have embodied more discernment. It feels like Queen of Swords energy, like expecting the truth, saying something with clear communication. You've created this safe space for your inner child, the maiden, but they're having to meet you. They've met the maiden before. They've experienced you in this childlike wonder and also with your heart very open and vulnerable. But it feels like they didn't care for it in that space. They didn't understand how to create a safe space for you. So you did that yourself and it served as an activation for you. Now it's your turn to serve as an activation for them. The Empress, the duality of the Empress, the strength of the Empress, the courage to be in your Empress energy, you know, the courage that it takes to actually like hold your position and not come off of your throne. That's what it feels like. But I was saying the duality of the Empress energies to come into the shadow aspect kind of feels like a death energy, because she's the mother, she gives birth to things. It kind of feels like the willingness to end things, again, that Kali energy. The Kali represents, the divine mother and all of her emanations. The Empress in tarot has all four queens embodied, so it kind of has that same feeling. And it's like it feels like an energy of standing on business, you know what I'm saying? Of like, I'm not accepting anything less than what I know that I deserve. And I've created this safe space for me to receive what I deserve. So now I have to give you this activation by telling you the truth of what it took for me to get into the space of Empress energy, and not like when you get invited to come down off of that, course correcting somebody, and letting that serve as their activation. Yes, Ace of Cups, and that's an act of love. That's an act of courage as
Mhm.
well. That's an act of discipline as well. These cards I always try to show it, but it's like so shiny. It's an act of discipline, self-discipline to not allow yourself to go down to that level and maybe do like repeat the same cycle. You're inviting this person to rise and meet you where you are. And you're asking them, I feel like something that you're asking them with the Six of Pentacles and the Empress is like, what are you offering me? You don't come to the Empress with no offerings. What are you offering me? And then literally somebody joined this as the poetic offering. What are you offering me? And then I said, was it the threshold? And the poet, yes. They need to jump off the threshold, and this is the poet, and get into their transmuting bag, transmuting the old versions of themselves, transmuting their shadow. Again, like the offering to the Empress, it feels like would be to this does feel like Kali energy, like the eating of the ego, you know, the demolishing of the ego. You need to revoke that old version of yourself before you approach me, make an offering, make a courageous offering. The Six of Cups. And then we have the devil. Yes, because you refuse to be brought back into the limiting cycles of the past. The devil energy, there feels like an obsession with the past, like there is this feeling of nostalgia that keeps someone stuck in the past, and you're inviting them. You're like saying, "No, like I'm not going back there." No matter how sweet it may have been, the nectar and the maiden, no matter how much it may have felt good to what's coming through is drink the Kool-Aid. You know what I'm saying? No matter how good it may have felt in that moment to play along with the fantasy, I'm inviting you to rise into grounded, divine, masculine energy to meet me at the Empress energy that I have cultivated for myself, And that means revoking the nostalgia of the past or using nostalgia. We've talked about, I think there's a previous reading we talked through how to use, I would guess the best way to describe it would be the technology of nostalgia. It's like energetic technology. When memories come up, what do you use that for? How can you use that without getting stuck in the past? And it's like there is this obsession or um a stuckness to a younger version, a more fantasy like version of love, of connection. It requires you to play small. It requires you to be not in your matured energy, and you're not doing that. It didn't wanna come out, but I see it. The Ten of Cups in reverse, and the Page of Swords in reverse, and then the Chariot. Yeah, there's disappointment, and then we have the 10-10. But it's like, okay, we can transmute this if you're willing to. If this person is willing to, they can transmute this because we have the 10 and the 10. It's a chapter closing, and it's almost, well, I looked up, it's 3:32, but it's close to 3:33. But this person a chapter is closing, and it's like, again, they don't know how to acknowledge that or say that. I think it brings up fear around what that means to move forward, you know? I think also I think they worry about being put in the category of maybe a family dynamic that was disappointing or a part of your past that was disappointing, you know? If you have family dynamics that were disappointing, I think if there was familial patterning that's come up, they worry about being categorized as that, you know? Because they would like to move forward with the chariot card, but it is gonna take courage. They're gonna have to do the shadow work. They're gonna have to do the integration work. They're gonna have to be intentional with the direction that they're going as well, because the chariot is on a mission. The warrior's on a mission. It feels like to deliver something to the Empress. Four of Cups and the Two of Wands. I think that this person gets to decide now, after you do your part of showing up in that energy of holding your position, essentially holding the frequency of reciprocity, holding the frequency of what are you offering me, holding the frequency of I want to receive something, holding the frequency of we're not going back in the past, we're not doing that. This person can either choose to take that offer for what it actually is, which is an offer of love, of truth, an opportunity to be intentional and level up their life, it feels like, with the Chariot card and the Four of Cups and the Two of Wands. It's like they get to choose if they're kind of at a you're putting them at a crossroads, you know? Are they going to stay stuck in the past, or are they gonna meet you, you know, in the future on a higher timeline? The Eight of Cups and the Queen of Pentacles in reverse. I feel like predictably, um, you're gonna choose to put this down because I think that this person may refuse the offer initially. And so you're going to question. Thank you. I think when you start to question your worth, your value, all of those things, it puts you in the, you know, like I'm going to walk away with it. And the Eight of Cups is a sad card in the way that there are cups behind him. He does feel emotionally connected to them, but it's too much work. There's too much chaos. There's too much proving energy. It feels like with the Queen of Pentacles in reverse, it's like having to prove your value, you know, not receiving what you're worth, not being able to rest, not being able to hold the frequency of the Empress, you know? So it's like the Eight of Pentacles. It's like if I'm going to have to work, if I'm going to have to, also, this serves, I feel like, twofold in the self mastery, you know, of yourself and like, you know, affirming your value. But it's like if I'm going to have to put all this work in proving energy, I could just be by myself and not have to prove shit to anybody, you know? That's kind of what it feels like. It's like I don't want to prove shit to anybody. Yeah, Knight of Cups in reverse and the Fool in reverse is like literally I'm hearing I could do bad all by myself, you know? Um like you're selling me a pipe dream, you know? It would require me to be a fool. That's literally like they're trying to get you to drink the Kool-Aid, you know, of the past, it feels like. Drink the Kool-Aid of the past. So, yeah, we have the Page of Wands and the Knight of Pentacles. I feel like you've just began. Even though it may not feel like it, but I think that you're starting to just begin to get your spark back. You're beginning to Yeah, you're beginning to just begin to get curious about what feels good for you, what looks good for you, maybe changing your wardrobe, maybe like changing again, shape shifting and evolving. And you're on this road that you're committed to with the Knight of Pentacles. You're like, nothing's going to deter me from reaching my goals. Even if I have to change form and start over and all these things all by myself, you refuse to be with somebody that can't meet you, the Empress or the Emperor in reverse, that cannot meet you at your, that's not on this path and that doesn't recognize an opportunity for an opportunity and a way to level up, We have the Hierophant here and the Queen of Swords. That's what I was saying. You're coming out as the Queen of Swords in my mind. That's what I'm picturing. This version of the more matured version of you feels very Queen of Swords ish, where it's way more discerning and expecting of the truth. And there's a commitment to the truth. There's a commitment to integrity. It feels like ritualistic too. There's like an understanding of what it would require and the steps that need to be taken in order to approach for commitment. And then we have the Tower and the Seven of Wands in reverse, and the Knight of Wands in reverse, and the Lovers. Yes, and the Knight of Swords in reverse. Yeah. This person, it's like they try to come in quickly, expecting your guard to be down, or they it's like maybe they try this in and out thing. They every once in a while they'll check in to see if your guard is down. But then it feels like this time you hit them with a tower, or you're going to hit them with a tower moment, um, and shut all that shit down basically. And you're saying like, and it's not that you don't love this person or that you don't care for this person, but you're not for the in and out energy. Like, what are your steps? Where's the apologies for the Page of Cups? Where's your curiosity about, you know, getting to know me again? Like, you're inviting this person to be a different person, to be new and show up new. So you have this understanding of like, if time has passed and there's changes that have happened in both of y'all's lives or whatever, then that you need to approach in a new way as well. Because when so much time has passed with the Wheel of Fortune in the challenge position, if you're the same, it's like time hasn't passed, again, like feeling stuck in the past. But if you're like willing to be curious and in the energy of repair, then it's like you can turn the wheel and time can keep moving forward. We have the Eight of Wands and the Three of Swords. I do believe that you may be shutting some shit down, like once and for all. I don't say once and for all because it does feel like there's an activation, like through heartbreak, a message of heartbreak, a message that breaks somebody open, but it leads to healing with the Magician and the Star and the Hangman in reverse. And it frees this person. It frees you, I feel like, also from the liminal space of this person, like from the past to now. I think it frees you to be, like I said, you're kind of just getting your spark back, or you're just like getting involved in things again, or getting curious about what you like individually. And so, yeah, Two of Pentacles, you're juggling other things. If you're keeping yourself busy, it feels like new hobbies, or this person may be in juggling energy and it frees them as well. Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's giving third party energy. They could be actually juggling, trying to weigh out their options or something. Yeah. And they realize Oh, so this is like relieving if you I don't wanna say this, like, indefinitely for anybody that's watching the reading, but it's showing, like, juggling energy, the King of Wands, fire sign man. Then you have the Three of Pentacles, kind of third party energy. We have the Queen of Cups in the challenge position and the Ace of Pentacles in reverse. They realize that they missed an opportunity to connect with somebody that really had their heart open to them, and so that's why they do this check-in thing. And we have the King of Cups in reverse, and they can't meet you at that level of vulnerability, and now that's being revealed with the Sun. The Sun is out and there's not that much depth. They don't have the ability to ground something in, the Four of Pentacles, and so they hold back their emotions, and they would like to keep things in this liminal space, which I just feel like, yeah, the Five of Cups. Um, I feel like they feel really disappointed in themselves and how they allowed things to get, which is why this is leading to a Tower moment. Because, like I said, they did have access to your heart space. They did have access to that maiden-like energy, that innocence, that and they didn't cultivate that and keep that going, which is also a beautiful thing for you. It still serves as an activation for you because it helps you to come into your power, into a level of maturation that I feel like you needed to come into. But yeah, literally Nine of Pentacles. Come into your independence. Come into like this is pre-Empress energy. So even if you're in Nine of Pentacles energy right now, you're good, you're taking care of yourself and all the things. You are holding the frequency of Empress, which is good because that means that you know where you're going. You know what you would like to receive. Yeah, you're like asking somebody like, "What are you offering me?" Actually, Ace of Swords, the Ten of Pentacles in reverse. Yes, and so like literally, Ace of Swords in reverse, Ten of Pentacles in reverse, and we have the Nine of Pentacles. You only need somebody to bring you one pentacle. Can you offer me something? Can you bring me something? What are you offering me? Can you give me a seed to plant? Can you commit to anything? Can you put an intention in the ground? Do you have the capacity to water that intention with the King of Cups in reverse? And it's showing that they don't. It's showing that they didn't offer you very much except for betrayal that you've been able to transmute. Beautiful. But this King of Wands right here is juggling two seeds. They can't choose what seed they want. They don't know what seed they want to plant. So they choose not to plant anything and they keep people in the liminal space. So you can't deal like if you even if you're in this energy, you're never going to get that on their pentacle, that seed, that intention, that nurturing to actually like ground the 10 of pentacles in with that person. So it's like the rose colored glasses are off essentially. And um I feel like maybe at one point you may have felt rejected by this person or you didn't understand like why you felt like you picked up on the liminal energy. You didn't understand why this person didn't want to commit or why they'll come in and out and in and out. This reading is probably providing some um clarity for you. Yes, about the lovers, about choices, really, and justice. You're serving somebody justice. This is an activation for them, though. So it's like, I feel like if you struggle with this, I don't feel like this collective really does at this point, but you know, new levels, new devils type of thing, right? It's like new challenges. So it may be a little bit challenging to come into this and like get used to being in this level of power and activating your voice. But the Six of Wands, this is Spirit sees this as a success. Just as this person, honestly, when you endured what felt like betrayal, that was considered to be a success because it broke you open to embodying more of your power. You have the Moon, the Hermit, yep, and the Tower, and the Ace of Wands, the Two of Cups, the King of Pentacles. Judgment and the High Priestess, god damn. What you don't see, let's go through it. What you don't see, what's hidden from you, is that this alone time that you have in this integration process that you're doing of holding the frequency of the Empress energy and really removing the blocks, like going in and looking at what's holding you back from like feeling comfortable in that Empress energy is going to cause some kind of shakeup of not only your foundation but other people's foundation. It's like you are the one lighting the match to the tower, and you're like, burn this shit down. When it comes to these old connections or old, it feels like energetic blueprint for relationships, you know? And so this is probably why this feels intense too, if this is happening for you, but you're burning the shit down. And then we have right after that, what you don't see after you burn down that template for those old relationships, that again, going back to it, it feels like obsession with the past, repeated patterns of the past, chained to the past, devil and the Six of Cups. And then we have the Ten of Cups of a familial patterning, you know? So then we have the Two of Cups, the King of Pentacles, the Judgment, and the High Priestess. That is so beautiful. It's like you get a new relationship template that's so much more secure. That's like rebirthed into not only someone that can give you a pentacle, but give you multiple pentacles, like a king of pentacles, like someone that's ready to invest in you, that sees like your growth, that recognizes why you are the way you are with the judgment card, like that recognizes you for who you are, the high priestess. Like someone that has gone through the bardo, that has gone through death and rebirth cycles, that has gone through all of this like change and like spiritual development to be who you are. Yes, they recognize why you operate the way you operate, and they see that it's not about money. It's about intention and investment and recognizing what's a good investment. That's what the King of Pentacles is good at recognizing. And they see you as a good investment. I can't even make it up. Nine of Swords in reverse, they don't even worry about it. They're like, oh yeah, that's a good investment. Like not even questioning it. If the Seven of Pentacles, they're willing to invest. They're like, oh yeah, I want to ground something in with that person. They're not losing sleep over spending time or energy or money on you. They're like, that's an investment. Like, I want to make sure that I'm planting seeds, you know? I'm leaving my mark, Seven of Cups in reverse. I'm not confused about this at all. Like, there's nothing to question. There's no other options. Like, where else would I want to invest? We have the Queen of Wands in reverse. And it's not because I love that actually. It's not because of how you present. You know, the Queen of Wands in reverse is, I'm not saying that as like, I'm seeing it as something bad or something that you need to work on. It's like more so this person, this other King of Pentacles in the future. It's like someone that doesn't just look at you for your body or attractiveness or magnetism. They see like that you are a healer, an alchemize or an alchemizer, an alchemist. They see that you're divinely protected and guided, and they see like you're worthy of investing in, not just because of what you look like or what's on the surface. That's what I'm seeing that with the Queen of Wands in reverse. Yeah, the Eight of Swords in reverse. Something that's coming through is that you won't feel like something about insecurities not being really present like that anymore. They don't want to highlight your insecurities to bring your energy down. They like fill in those gaps. They invest in you in a way so that your insecurities are smaller. Does that make sense? Yeah, Ten of Wands. Sorry, my cards, we're almost at the end of the deck. Can I get a final card? Why the Ten of Wands? And the Knight of Swords in reverse. I feel like they're just saying that I've said everything that needs to be said. Um, you're not gonna have to feel the weight of doing things alone or feeling like you have to be guarded or that you can't put something down or that you don't have help because somebody shows up inconsistently. It feels like there's a very consistent energy that comes through when you release this energetic blueprint of, um, you know, of love, like your past relationships. We have the King of Swords now. That's the king of intention, and communication and clarity and planning and all of those things. Then we have the Three of Wands. That's something coming in the future, looking off to the future. But in order to do that, you have to be willing to end something, end the in and out energy, the death in reverse, and the Knight of Wands. And like, this is a block. And it may be due to like literally just being attracted to somebody. Like maybe that's the glue within y'all's relationship is the chemistry, and past like the old relationship templates, it could be just chemistry, just attraction, and that's why there's not stability, and there's not seeing you for who you are and valuing it and wanting to invest in you and all these things. The spirit is saying, like, it feels like it's almost like they're showing it as like a no brainer of like, this is not gonna get you what you want, With the Five of Wands here and the Five of Swords in reverse, it's like, what are you fighting over? Literally fighting over a losing battle, Like keeping this person represents something for you. It's not about them, but it's about the blueprint for old relationships that you're washing away. So you have the Four of Wands in reverse and the Seven of Wands. And that's what I'm saying. It's like they're asking you to stand up again, be courageous and hold that frequency of the Empress of knowing what you deserve. Because literally, like, this person, like I said, it's not about them, but they're showing up as opening up a portal to the past and trying to get you to go through the portal, the Six of Swords and the Nine of Cups in reverse to not get what you want, to only get a page. And again, this also feels like trying to trap somebody because a page could be a seed, like a baby, But going back to like the Nine of Pentacles and the Ten of Pentacles thing, yeah, you only need one pentacle to get your Ten of Pentacles, but who has more pentacles? And it's not about comparison literally of like funds, but like who's willing to invest more when one person only gives one pentacle to the Ten of Pentacles, right? It's somebody that like you have to maintain that Nine of Pentacles. You have to, it's like, again, going back to the saying of like, I could do bad all by myself, And so Spirit is asking you, like, really consider what this whole situation really represents for you and consider what you're entering into should you decide to stay small and not serve as this person's activation and also your activation into more power, right? Into I feel like finally getting rid of this like old blueprint of relationships, Not allowing this person to continue to do this in and out energy. Also, you deciding too, you don't want to be somebody that's like being weighed between other options, because they can't make up their mind. What angels are supporting the message? Angel of the undoing and angel of the ruin. And what do we have to look forward to? Oh my gosh, Spirit has been doing this so much with this deck. We have emanation of life, but you see how thick this deck is? This is two decks put together of these angel cards. They'll give me two of the same card after like Angel of Ruin came out twice. They're emphasizing that this is something that has led to literally like I feel like depression, a lot of sadness, again, betrayal energy. Not just this person, but it feels like the relationship template, the old template that used to follow that was programmed from familial patterning. And then we have angel sacrifices on the bottom of the deck. But I was asking, what are we going into? I know you said ruin, but I guess that is like a tower moment. Angel visions. What do you envision for your life? What do you envision for your love life, your relationship life? Calling in that King of Pentacles partner, that stability, that commitment. The 10 of Pentacles, what does that look like for you? Inhale. Okay. Angel of Song, Angel of Death in the reverse, Angel of Rain, Angel of Sacrifice is still on the bottom of the deck, and Angel of Verdancy. What does verdancy mean? The wind passes the grass and waves, carrying it with the seed of growth. The seed, intention, flowing across the landscape and burrowing into the cool soil. The investment. Plant life seeks the sky, and with it, the dominion expands. Let your roots settle. Commitment, grounding. It is the season for blossoming. The Empress. Set your intentions for what you would like your life to look like, what you would like your relationships to look like, what you would like this new relationship template to look like, what you would like your 10 of Pentacles to look like. And it feels like when you do that, when you set that intention it may not even be a chaotic conversation. I do kind of see that here, but like it feels like when you decide to set that intention, it breaks down these other blueprints or these other timelines or these other. Yeah, I feel like it's not even something that you have to say. It's something that you intend for yourself, and you hold that vision, you hold that frequency, and you let everything else fall away. You don't entertain it, you don't respond to it. Angel of Silence. You let the sound or the silence speak for itself because you're not responding to the past. Angel of Snow. Leaves no trace upon the sleeping land, meaning you get a fresh start. This winter, it feels like you're going to spend some time in hermit mode and get really clear about the intentions that you set for this next cycle in love and relationships, maybe in career, money, all these things. Yes, we have emanation of glory wanting to come out. You're going to be, um, really, it feels like coming into your own. It feels like coming into a glow. Also, like you may be like in your winter arc and like really getting it's like, yeah, you're in your winter arc. You're putting money in the bank right now. You're investing in yourself. And I think you're building up the power. It feels like building up your power and dreaming something bigger for yourself. A lot of Leo and Aquarius energy is coming out now. We have the Aquarius card, but I also saw Leo here. Yeah, Angel of Leo. The process of creation requires us to draw something from within and bring it out into the world. We take the experiences and emotions that have been given to us and pass them along. The good, the bad, the beauty, and the pain. Those close to Archangel Cambiel know this process very well. To enrich those around us, we sacrifice a little piece of ourselves, pouring into our hearts and in the hope that another vessel will take a drop of it with them. So it does bring us back to like this kind of sweet ending message. Hello of connectedness and all the things. Oh my gosh, my phone is on 1%. I'm gonna wrap it up right here. It's gonna be posted on YouTube, it's gonna be posted on live. But dreaming of a different relationship template, not responding to the past and all that good stuff. Okay. I don't want this to get lost.